Hello to KTBlackadder. I've just watched your video on preaching atheism. I think you raised a lot of excellent points, and I'd agree with the vast majority of it. I think you're absolutely right. The people who are, they keep it in their head. The sort of gentle believer, the old woman burying her husband of 50 years, is not going to be convinced that she'll be happier by knowing that her husband is not in the hereafter. I think it'd be a waste of time and frankly probably be a little cruel to wake somebody up in that condition. I think that you'll find, to some people, they'll say, or genuinely believe, that truth in itself matters. It really does matter that another person knows to the same degree of certainty that I know that the universe is, 14 billion years old, which is very interesting. But a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, that doesn't, it doesn't necessarily matter to social policy," which is absolutely correct. It doesn't matter to social policy. The problem that you have is that to the religious, their belief in Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve does matter to social policy, because they're less likely to support things that are entirely harm-free, and in a liberal democracy those things should be legal. They're not going to support things like gay marriage because of their religious conviction that the earth was created, or Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, or that, Leviticus or Jesus or whoever they believe doesn't like gay people. That's enough of a premise to deny somebody's right to get married, which is appalling, which is absolutely wrong. Now, in order to get rid of religious views from public policy, you need the people of the country to not hold those beliefs, or at least realise that faith-based knowledge, if you want to call it that, is not sufficient as a premise to conclude anything. It's okay for people to hold these things in their head, and I think that's kind of the division that you're suggesting. That if in order to remove religion from social policy, you have to get to the point where religion does not matter and is seen not to matter in the construction of social policy. Now, when you've in Britain, we've got the embarrassing situation where the Queen is, somebody is given tremendous amounts of influence, if not direct legislative power, on the basis of birth, and then add on to that a claim that she's in some way God's representative on earth. Now, both of those are not good reasons to give anybody either a bum rap in life or a privileged position in life. So we need to correct those things. We need to get the bishops out of the House of Lords. We need to disestablish the Church of England, for example, for their own benefit as well as ours. If they are genuinely against things like gay marriage, then they shouldn't be the established church, because as the established church they need to bend the knee to Parliament, which is sovereign, as they did in 1876 when the Privy Council voted that belief in hell wasn't required to receive the sacrament of the Church of England. All the bishops voted against that. However, the Privy Council carried the day, and their doctrine was changed. I would expect for the established church that if Parliament says gay marriage is okay, then the doctrine of that church needs to change. Now, if that is intolerable for them, then they need to go. They shouldn't be the established church. We need to get to a point where you make religion not matter, or somebody's religious beliefs or worldviews or whatever not matter to social policy debates. That's going to be hard if significant 60-70% of the population say they claim to believe in religion. So I think there's a social discourse throughout society that needs to occur to ridicule ridiculous ideas, which is, I think it's absolutely appropriate that if somebody comes across a ridiculous idea, if somebody says, "Oh, I think we should give all the money in the country to rich people because they clearly know how to manage rich money best." Now, you'd get to the point where the leading people of the day would say, "No, that's utterly ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous," and other people would echo those comments, and I don't think they're doing any harm whatsoever. Everybody in the country has an interest in the religious debate because of our system, where, as I say, we have an established church in Britain. So it's absolutely right that everybody who is an atheist can feel as though they want to try and change the political views of others. There's nothing wrong with that. What I think you're calling preaching atheism, I think from an end goal, from an organised movement's perspective, it's not the best idea. I agree with you. It's not the best idea. But from an individual, representing 1/60 millionth of the population, people can talk about what they want, and it's not bad for them to do that. It's not wrong. It's not harmful. It's not terrible. If you assume that atheism has an end state, a goal that it wants to achieve, then it won't achieve it as quickly. And I totally accept what you're saying. When you said tolerance, I absolutely agreed with that, because tolerance is a terrible thing. You don't want to be tolerant. Tolerant is something the strong do to the weak. It is something other than equality. As a gay man, I do not want to be tolerated. I want to be on an entirely equal footing, and I will not support the religious sensitivities of those who seek my subjugation. So, on certain matters where it affects me, I will absolutely stand up and say it's terrible, but I won't do it for the sake of atheism. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing it because it's absolutely my right, and everybody's right to say those things where they see unfairness or where they see bullying, which is, to be honest, what a lot of religious nonsense is. But as I say, drawing the line there from the quiet, our traditional view of the English church parishioner that we probably share, which is the Christmas and Easter and funerals and things. So anyway, that's me, far more rambling than yours, which I thought was excellent video. It's appalling that you don't have huge numbers of views to these videos, because they're very nice. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening.